we're discussing the CPP's presidential race. And of course, as you know, in a few days' time, come Saturday, the 12th of May, all roads lead to the Western region, as we say in Ghana, and it is to elect a flag bearer for the Convention People's Party. You know that the Convention People's Party is a very old party. It's Ghana's second oldest political party, formed in 1949 by a name that many know would never be wiped off the face of Ghanaian political history, aside for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But indeed, the party has had its own problems and issues. Indeed, at a certain point in time, they don't even have the name. And it's only in recent times that he was able to fight and claw back his proud name. But that name has not come with all the wealth of votes and prominence that it has enjoyed at the polls in previous years. And at this stage, the CPP says it is ready to revive itself and therefore struggling to do just that. So, but we have two men leading the hunt to become presidential candidates for the party. Mr. Bright Akwete is a legal practitioner. He's in the studio with me tonight, and we'll be asking him a question or two. Thank you for coming, sir. We hope to be joined on the phone line by Dr. Abu Sakara, who is the other candidate in this race. It's a battle between friends, but of course, when it comes to war, there isn't anything called friendly fire when you're on the opposite side of the divide. They'll be finding out from both men what it is that they bring to the table, why they think that we should, the delegates, as it were, should vote for them, and then what the chances of the CPP are in 2012, this year, come December, when we all go to the polls. These are the issues we'll be dealing with. You can send us your views to 1760 by text across all mobile networks. Remember, 30 pesos is the cost per each text message. If you're on Facebook, facebook.com/multi-tvpm express is the address by which you can reach us. Mr. Bright Akwete, my first question may be a bit curious, but really, what is it that makes a man want to be president of a country?
Well, in my case, I am determined to fight the injustice that I see in this country. I think there's too much injustice in this country. There's too much lawlessness in this country. Man, hopelessness has crept in. And I look at the society and I say, what is this the society that we sought to create? Is it the society that I came to see when I was young until I went to secondary school? I think not. And I ache when I see the way the natural resources are being handled, are being mismanaged, the way gradually we are being recolonized. I said to myself, having been a young pioneer and trained to love my country and to serve my country selflessly, and to protect the property of the state, I do not think with this knowledge and experience and maturity in life and about politics of Ghana, I should sit down and allow others to surrender our sovereignty to even private foreign companies. I said no to that. And I decided that, look, if this is the way to run this country, then it is the wrong way to do it. And I want to do it, and I think I can do it better. But I want to do it through the vehicle of the Convention People's Party. In fact, it is the mother of all political parties. The UGCC was not a political party, it was just a movement. Kwame Nkrumah turned the Convention People's Party into a political party. So that was the first one.
But in the records, we always say the UGCC, whichever way.
That was a political movement, not a political party.
Okay.
Properly so called.
But it was. I mean, it did everything a political party does. Nkrumah was there running the affairs of a political party. He was general secretary of it and all, until he decided to break out.
They didn't ever compete in any elections.
Sure. But we can. But the PPP today is a political party, isn't it?
Oh, they call themselves so. Well, they've been given a certificate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that one.
But they haven't run for any political contest yet.
No. But you see, the thing is that you must have a political ideology. You must have a certain structure all over the country. It is Kwame Nkrumah who came to build the structures all over the country.
Okay. Of
the UGCC. That's why he called it the Convention Youth Organization, the CYO. That was not available. That was not in existence. He came to create it. And having created it, took it now into a political party, transformed it into a political party. But if you ask me why I want to be president of this country, this is why I want to be president, because I think there's too much lawlessness. And people are paying lip service to corruption and embezzlement of state funds. I've been a public prosecutor for 21 years, and I've seen what should not be seen. I've seen what should not have happened in this country. And people are treating some of the offenses with kid gloves. They are shadowboxing with crime and with corruption. I think the situation must change. And I believe that I have the necessary capability, given the conditions that are required to do better and transform the economy and transform this country.
But let me ask you. I mean, many will say, really, what can you do? What difference would you make? I mean, all the things you're saying are things we've heard before. People will say they heard it from all the people who have run this country. I know the Fourth Republic, perhaps in more recent history, Terry Rawlings and all protocols observed, J. Kufuor, current president John Evans Atta Mills, they've all said similar things to what you're saying. I mean, I watched this production by Jared Mills, An African Election, and it brought back to us the kind of things that was said on the platform by Nana Akufo-Addo, by President Mills, and all of that. All the issues you are citing. There's too much corruption in this country. They're not running things the way we should do. Ghanaians are not having the front row with regard to business. You know, we've heard all of these things before. What can you do differently, really, if the system is as bad as you say it is?
I will live what I say. Somebody came and said probity, transparency, and accountability. And I saw corruption in his era. I said it.
You mean President Rawlings?
I saw it, yes. Okay? I saw it. And I was appalled by it because I realized that they were not living what they were saying.
Is it possible to have a president under whom there will be no corruption?
If the president himself is not corruptible and he means business, he wants to fight corruption, anybody else who comes in would want to run away if the ground gets hot. Because we saw it some time ago when there were prosecutions being carried out against certain businessmen who were engaged in certain corrupt practices. I was part of the team that prosecuted. And I prosecuted most of the major economic crime cases in the country during a particular era. And I did not mean...
What period was this?
This was particularly from 1983 to 1991.
But you are talking about Jerry Rawlings now. If you're saying that there was that prosecution under his era and that you participated in it, wasn't it an attempt on his behalf, on his part, to fight against the
system? But he himself did not demonstrate it because there are occasions when he himself capitulated. The occasions when he backed out and allowed people who had committed crimes who should be prosecuted to be set free.
I'm sure people will be asking for examples now.
Oh yes, but I will not give the examples here. At the appropriate, I'll give the example. But he himself knows.
How appropriate can any other time be
than now? Let me be the flag bearer. Let me have a better clout than I have now.
Because that may be the reason somebody will say, a delegate watching will say, no, well, Bright Akwiche is the guy to go for. Because people like to have the facts.
Well, I will not bite that bait now. I will not bite it now. But I tell you, that's why I want to be president now, because I've seen it. Even that era. I know of a big businessman who embezzles so much as over $1 million of the state's funds. And friends in that government covered him up. And he was not prosecuted. But people with lesser offenses were prosecuted and imprisoned for many years. That person is walking about freely in Ghana making noise. He was covered by friends in that era. And I was appalled by it. That's why I decided that if I am in the lower ranks, people will be giving me instructions and be giving me directions and be playing games with such cases. I want to lead a strong regiment of people, Ghanaians across the political divide, who will be committed to fighting crime and fighting corruption in this country, using the appropriate institutions and the law. Or we can use the law to fight corruption. If you investigate properly, and investigations, they can be messed up purposely. And I've seen it.
Don't we have a situation again in this country of giving too many examples without naming the names? I mean, we all watch, and this is a media platform. It streams live around the world. When people get the opportunity to watch it. I mean, last week I met somebody at the airport who was just coming in from Washington, D.C. He didn't know me from Adam. He was happy to see me simply because he says they monitor this in New York all the time. And he's always asking me to say hello to them. They watch BBC, I'm sure. They watch CNN. And I'm sure the standards they've come to expect are not any different from what they expect of us. Over there, people state issues and they are put on the carpet to really substantiate them. President Obama does a debate and everybody's asking, show us the source. When you, for example, mention somebody walking around...
show us the source, he doesn't show the source? Maybe he's using his discretion.
No, a lot of the time he's forced to show the source. If right on the moment and before the podium, sometimes the follow-up says that when we return from the break, we'll do a clarification of A and B and C, because it's important for us to know the facts. And I've done this job for a very long time, even though I'm not a very old person. I've done it a long long time, for almost 15 years. And over the years, I find that we've had a lot of points made where we really do not know the reason or the basis for it. Somebody embezzling 1 million, it's a big issue, but I don't think you would name the person.
I won't do it now.
Absolutely. There we go.
There's a reason for it. But
so I'm not saying you're not telling the truth, but somebody may come and also say a similar story. And it may not be true, but we have come to accept as a society that you can say it and say I won't name the person. And so we are not even able to tell which one you're referring to.
I want to challenge you.
Yes.
I want to challenge you.
As I am doing to you now.
As I want to challenge you. At the appropriate time, you must be discreet in some of these things. You have to use your discretion. Depending on where you are. If I'm in a particular situation, I might name the names. Okay. It's public knowledge.
Then that's not a reason it should be easy for you.
You see? The issue of mentioning and naming names is done in an appropriate place. For instance, I can talk about the NPP and the fight against corruption. The NDC came, they thought they were going to fight it. And they had a commission of inquiry which was not capable of finding the truth. Okay? I can tell you things on this platform. In another platform, I will name the names. We have a situation where somebody, a lawyer in Ghana, very senior lawyer, saw corruption on a big scale in a particular institution. Meanwhile, Ghanaians have been told, if you have the information, bring it. And he sent the information was made available to the powers that be. They decided to remove the person against whom the allegations were made, and finally punished the senior lawyer who gave that information. That led to the suspension of this officer, or this dismissal. But we had then been told about zero tolerance for corruption.
You're talking about the Kufuor government right now. Yes, zero tolerance is Kufuor government.
Zero tolerance.
Yes.
And we saw more corruption than was before.
So how was this senior lawyer punished?
He was told to go on suspension for 2 months without pay.
Suspension from which position?
From his position in the institution where he worked.
For bringing the information?
For bringing the information and causing the removal of that person from office. And the minister was told, call him, dismiss him. Said, no, that cannot be done. I said, okay, suspend him for 2 months without salary. So he came to me.
Which institution was this?
You see, that is where your problem comes. That's where my problem also comes.
Absolutely.
I don't want
because you want to be the president of this country.
You called me here for an interview. I am not ready to. At the appropriate time when I'm ready to move that one, I'll do it.
I haven't done this style of interview for maybe more than 10 years now. I'm doing this style of interview simply because you want to hold the #1 position of this country. It's a very serious position in Ghana.
When I hold it, I'll deal with those issues.
But you see, my thinking is that we will not say, let's go and hold it before we address matters. Whilst you convince us that you are the man to go and hold it, we will put you to the test. I'm sure you agree with me on this.
Yes,
because you are also a very senior lawyer in this country, very respected for that matter, and you know how these things work. I've seen you in court, cross-examining, etc.
I would name names.
You find that when you want to,
I would name names.
But you say this is the biggest court of law in this country. The public opinion, where the people are involved.
It's not everybody who is watching PM Express.
But we have a lot of people watching, and My Joy Online will carry your interview tomorrow. It will send it further.
If you had called me and had told me, look, we want you to come and give examples about. If you ask me now about cases I'd prosecuted, I'll tell you about them. Those, sometimes the police conduct investigations and they refuse to disclose certain facts because they say it's still under investigation.
Yeah, sure.
Some of them, they are not for this platform. At the appropriate time, they'll be exposed. But I'm saying that I've been appalled by the way people have handled it. I was in the Gambia, I was dismissed. In fact, there was a collusion between the Attorney General of Ghana and the Attorney General of Ghana to stop me from doing a particular investigation into petroleum.
In Gambia? In
the Gambia. And
when was this?
This was in 1997 and to 98. I came back in April, I think the 8th of April, 1998. I was virtually driven away from the country just to stop me from continuing with that investigation. At the time, the head of state was out of the country. The two Attorney General decided to move me out of the Gambia.
Ghana and Gambia
Attorney General.
Who was AG at that time, 97, 98?
You can find it out. And then, I said, then if you want me to stop the investigations and to come, give me money to come. Give me a ticket to come. He said, I have no ticket for you. Come away from the Gambia. Stop that investigation. Another minister gave me a ticket to come from the Gambia. But before I came from the Gambia, they made sure that I had been humiliated in the Gambia for trying to expose that corruption in the state. And I believe that if they had allowed me to finish that case, they would have seen how these big men in society, the celebrated ones who are given the front seat in the church, who are allowed to sit in the front rows at funerals, they are killing our countries. Because when they commit the offenses, they have connections here and there, people they attend churches with, people they are in the same lodge with, people they were in the same school with, and others.
You're talking about NDC 1 era. That's the Rawlings era, 97, 98.
Yes.
That's the second term of your Rawlings.
That's the era.
Right.
And I had to come back from Gambia without committing any offense. And then when I came, my salary was frozen for 6 months. My salary was frozen for 6 months. And as part of my punishment, when I had done enough in the field of economic crime and I had seasoned myself ready to serve my country, they said, go to Sekondi. But I've lived in Sekondi before, so it was not a problem. But it was part of a bigger trap. So I told the Attorney General, you know what I did in Sekondi, Takrady, in the timber industry? And you know that I am not wanted there. You want to send me there to be assassinated? He said, no, I'll give you protection, military protection. I said, I don't need it.
But you can tell us who the Attorney General was.
But you can find out yourself.
We can find it out.
You must be an investigative journalist.
Absolutely. But it's not every journalist is an investigator anyway.
We
can find it out. But why is that a big issue for you to, for example, say the Attorney General in 97, 98 was X or Y? That should be public. We can find this before the show is over.
It's not my style. You can find it
before this program is over.
But you were able to detect which regime was that. You said
because you said 97, 98.
So if 97, 98,
won the
you
election
should know.
in 2000.
Yes.
So
you should know the Attorney General.
It should be Rawlings 1.
Yes. So you should know the Attorney General. That was the longest serving Attorney General.
Right.
What clue else do you want?
I know the Attorney General.
So let it be.
But I want you to mention it.
I don't want to mention it here.
I know the Attorney General. He got a PhD at age 29.
You can add others, but I will not be tempted into mentioning the name.
So we know.
Yeah, so
he's an Attorney General who later formed the political party. He left the NDC.
But you are getting closer. So why are you?
I know. But I wonder what your difficulty is.
The difficulty is
with mentioning his name.
As a lawyer, you should know what to say at what time and on what platform. And then on issues like this, you would want to be certain where to say it. If it's in the courtroom, I'll say it. Because in the courtroom, I say a lot of these things. But on a platform like this, I have to be a little more circumspect than in the courtroom.
Mr. Bright Akwete wants to be president of Ghana, but first he must win the CPP's flag bearer position. He is contesting the position on Sunday in the Western region against Dr. Abu Sakara. When we come back, we'll zero in on the CPP, how prepared he is, how sure is he that he's actually going to pick the ticket. And Dr. Abu Sakara will also be joining us sometime during the show. Mr. Bright Akwete, you have to convince your delegates first. I don't know how many delegates are voting come Saturday.
About 2,130.
That's quite a number.
Yeah.
And it's a two-way horse race.
Yes.
Quite interesting. I'll get down to it. But some say you probably are one of the reasons why Pakwesi Ndum left the CPP. Is that true?
I don't know.
Did you? Because they say you hounded him out of the party somewhat.
Well, I made a statement. I don't know whether, but he had said before that if Samia won the elections, he would leave the party. So I was not surprised that he left the party. But we have peace now. We have harmony in the party.
Because he's out?
Because he's out. Because there are no persons writing dirty things against the chairman and leader of the party who are members of the Central Committee. Nobody is doing that again. There's nobody flouting the authority of the Central Committee and going around the country inaugurating offices on his own volition without the participation of the National Executive. Nobody is doing that. Nobody is planning to hold a National Executive Council meeting outside the authority of the Central Committee and the national leadership. Nobody is doing that. So if you want to do that, then the ground will be too hot for you to stay there. But we have peace now. We have harmony now.
Are you surprised that it's only two of you going for the flag bearer slot?
No, I'm not surprised.
Why not?
Because
some were expecting names like Dr. Akosa and all of them, and somehow
he had decided not to contest at this time. Dr. Safo contested the last time. He said he's not contesting. It's a personal decision. Dr. Akufu also contested. He's not. Mr. George Agude contested. He says, I won't go this time. So we are left with the two contestants.
How confident are you that you get a nod?
You see, I told the delegates anywhere I went that I am ready and I am prepared as a Ghanaian to step into the shoes of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Because after him, I believe that nobody imbued with the spirit that moved him, that moved some of us, has held the mantle of the Convention People's Party. I told them that I am a completely detribalized Ghanaian. I don't like the tribalism that is going on now. I started school in Bolga, and in Azanga Primary School in Bolga, and continued in Tamale, in Wenchi, in Kumasi, and then went to Abuasi, to Kumasi again, and to Ejura, the Ashanti region, to Antuakrom in the Mansun Kwanta district, then to Asante Bekwai, to Takrady, to Axim, to Sefioso, and to Sekendi. So I've roamed quite a sizable part of the country. And I speak some of the languages, and I could communicate. And I communicated with them fluently in Chi, in Fanti, in the Sifi language. The Hausa, I understand the Hausa perfectly well. You won't beat me with the Hausa. So I told them, I am ready as somebody who knows you and understands you in the communities that you live or have lived before. I have educated myself for 12 years before I finished middle school. 12 years in various schools all over Ghana. And then after secondary school, into the University of Ghana, I was the president of the Ghana United Nations Students and Youth Association. Yes, but that was a very big position in this country, in the affairs of the youth and youth organizations. And I became the first black president of the International Youth and Student Movement for the United Nations, which is the parent body of GUNSA in Geneva. And that is where I seasoned myself for leadership, because I was dealing with the various blocks. That was the height of the Cold War, when you had the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc, you had the non-aligned movement, you have those who have not decided, and the liberation movement, where you dealt with things like racism, with apartheid, with the arms race, with human rights, with the liberation struggle in Namibia, in South Africa, in Angola, in Guinea-Bissau, PAIGC, in Polisario, that is in the northern part of Africa. Polisario was active there. And I was able to lead the World Youth Group under the United Nations for so many years, particularly from 1983 to 1998. I led them to formulate single resolutions on the various issues. To get a group like that to adopt one resolution on racism was not easy. To adopt one resolution on the arms race was not easy. On apartheid was not easy. On the new international economic order was not easy. But I had to learn to listen patiently and to take everybody's view into consideration, to craft a resolution or a decision, a statement that was acceptable to everybody. So I trained myself sufficiently in that. Then when I came to the Attorney General's office, I came face to face with crime. I came face to face with economic crime, particularly from 1979. And I saw how agreements that were entered into between Ghana and even private companies inured to the benefit of those private companies against the interest of Ghana and Ghanaians. I saw the Valco agreement. I saw the Agripetco agreement. I saw the Starcast agreement. I saw the Firestone agreement. I said, no, you can't enter into agreements like this when you are a sovereign country. You are selling our sovereignty. And that was my first contact with injustice to this country through public agreements. And that is one we're dealing with in court now, in the commercial court, about Ghana Telecom. I've seen how in agreements generally, our sovereignty is surrendered to private companies. And I'm appalled by the fact that we have a situation where donor agencies and development partners, as they are called, would have to come in before we can announce their budget. Then we are not a sovereign country.
The commercial court you cited actually was constructed, I believe, largely with foreign funds.
Yes.
That beautiful edifice of the courthouse.
And even the equipment there.
Right.
So you're selling your sovereignty gradually. You're being recolonized gradually. And then I saw some of the laws that are being used to administer this country. I saw the laws on natural resources, the exploitation of natural resources. Oh, I was surprised that Ghanaians could craft a law and pass that law. That makes it possible for the foreigner to come and take 90% shares and we take only 10%. And that 10%, we do not involve ourselves in the activities of the company. We don't have a member of the board of directors. We don't have anybody in the account office. Mm-hmm. We don't know where they refine, for instance, the gold. We don't know how much they get, but we tell them, give us 10%. So they have 90% and you have 10%. Sovereign country, where we declared that the African is capable of managing his own affairs.
But are these issues that you raise, issues that you were able to get the delegates to come to terms with, to understand, and for that reason to assure you that really they are going with you because they believe in what you're saying?
I told them how the sovereignty is being surrounded, how even the national security is being jeopardized through agreement with foreign private companies. Because I think that the state should always be supreme. Because by the UN resolution, every country, no matter your size, you have permanent sovereignty over your natural resources. I don't see the sovereignty. Through law, we are surrendering our sovereignty.
There's a whole United Nations Convention.
Yes, and all that. As a Ghanaian and a lawyer, seeing these things and imbued, fortunately, pardon me if I'm boasting, with the spirit to fight injustice, I decided that we should live the justice in the motto freedom and justice. We've abandoned it. We have the freedom and we are misusing the freedom and using the freedom to even foment trouble. But we're ignoring the justice.
Let me take you back a bit because my...
And the delegates understood this. They said that if you have such knowledge about the ills of society, we'll go with you.
Okay, I'll come back to this issue. But let me take you back a bit into history because some of us were born so recently, we still have to find certain things from you. The CPP won the 1951 elections. Who did it beat?
You see, there was a UP coalition.
Yes.
The Northern Territories, they had a party, Northern People's Party. They did very well.
Right.
And then there was the Federalists in the Ashanti region. They didn't do very well. Later, they united. So we call them the UP tradition.
But I'm talking about 51.
51?
Yes.
Yes.
Because the Federalists
the Northern
came up
region
in the 54.
party was second.
Okay.
Yes. 54, they were stronger. They got together
to
fight the CPP. Still, they couldn't beat the CPP. 57, they were together.
Because J.B. Dankwa was Nkrumah beat J.B. Dankwa in the 51 election.
Yes.
Which party?
In the 54.
Yes, but which party was J.B. Dankwa with? Was it not the UGCC?
You see, that was not the UGCC. Did not participate in the election. Pardon me, I've mixed up I've forgotten the name of the party in the heat of the situation.
I see.
But the UGCC did not contest elections.
I see.
No, they didn't contest elections. The Northern People's Party was very strong, and I know the...
So was the UGCC disbanded?
No.
Because it was around in 47.
But it was not a political party.
So it never contested elections?
No.
So then you're saying some of the historical facts we have are wrong?
They were in the UP tradition. In the Ashanti, that was the... Is it the Ashanti People's Party? No, I forgot. I don't want to make a mistake.
Okay.
But the Northern People's Party was stronger than them in the elections, but they combined later to form the UP tradition, United Party, for the 1954 and 57 elections.
That's right, because the NLM issue arose in 54. So going forward from there, I can understand that. But the 51 is something we need to really clarify.
We'll look at it if I go back.
Yes.
I'll get the information for you
because
it's
available. I remember that a bit from all the political studies. But we'll move on.
One has been more immersed in law than going to history again. So these things.
We'll deal with it. Because I'm sure people, I'm asking this because I'm sure a lot of people will also be raising challenge about you saying that the first, so for you, basically the first political party is the CPP.
First political party, properly so called, was the CPP.
I see.
Mass political party.
The mass political party.
Because these people were there in the UGCC hoping to replace the white man in the bungalows and drink tea at 4 o'clock. They were unfortunate to have Akwaje to tell them that, let us go and bring that man, he's better. And he came and decided that, no, this is not the way to run it. You need membership in all the countries. Sorry, in all the towns and cities in the country. So he started, village to village, country to country, all over the country to create membership.
And the 48 riots also helped.
Well, it helped.
Massively.
Yeah, massively. Because then the UGCC, would you say that they created the route? No. No, Nico Abraham should be credited with that one.
Absolutely, and he is credited in our history books.
Yes, he'll be credited with that one. So it was not the UGCC per se. You know, if they were a political party, then it would have been better for us. But they were this movement who were waiting to replace the white man in the bungalow.
Independence in the shortest possible time.
Yes.
Is what was their mantra. But let me bring you back. I mean, Dr. Abu Sakara, who I believe we're still trying to get in touch with, is coming up against you. Why should a delegate choose you over him?
More versatile, have more maturity in the affairs of state, in fighting crime, in fighting corruption, in working with governments. You know, when you have worked with government before, you not just answer questions when they ask you in the studio, name names, that you name names, because there are implications for that. And then I have served this party in a way that has kept the party alive. I created the Patriots together with Professor Akosa, Dr. Osafo, Dr. K, Jojo Krenzel, Dr. Jojo Krenzel, and others, Dr. Jehuapia and others, Nako Dayasimene, Rodalyn Mori Ayana, and Abre Tiahin, some strong women amongst us. Together in 2005, we formed these Patriots and lifted the image of the party. We spent money, our own money. It was compulsory for everybody to pay 1 million cedis a month, or 100 Ghana cedis a month, to open offices, to buy furniture, to buy flags, hoist flags, move around the country, improve the membership, fight by-elections. We did it. And Abu Sakara came to join the Patriots that we had created. Dr. Safu brought him. So how would you place the person who created the movement against the person who became a member of the movement later? The delegates know about this. And then they also know that I contested the last elections as a flag bearer. I did. And after that, I was privileged to be made the chairman of the legal committee. And I was saddled with various problems which I had to solve. Like when the Volta region took us to court, the Volta regional chairman took us to court, trying to prevent us from holding the National Council, Executive Council meeting. I got involved with a lawyer on the other side, my good friend and brother, Mr. Nutifafa Kwenyi, and we resolved the matter and were able to hold the neck. They know that on the day of the neck, the leadership of the party were nervous, including the then vice chairman, who is now contesting with me. They were all nervous, wondering whether they would not be cited for contempt of court if they went for the National Executive Council meeting. I stood in front of all the delegates and told them, hold me responsible if anything else happens, and say we are not committing contempt of court. Go ahead. That is what made the National Executive Council meeting possible.
You said 2005 and all the efforts and lifting the image of the party. But really, when you compare the fact that Kwame Nkrumah won 89% and excess of elections in 1960, and in recent electoral history, the CPP has not even been able to make 2%. Of all the efforts you cite since 2005, which is a lot of years ago, how come all these have not amounted to much in terms of numbers?
It's a question of leadership. We messed ourselves up by choosing somebody who, when had been elected, decided that I will not work with the national campaign team. I have my own campaign team. My money is ready, my campaign team is ready, my vehicles are ready. So the chairman of the national campaign team decided to resign his post, and we all had to go back. Because this flag bearer we're chasing is saying that I cannot work with the national campaign team. The vehicle that should carry you to the castle, then, he said you don't want to work with it.
And that's 2008. You are obviously referring to Dr. Pakwesi Indo. But to be fair to him, George Agude got 1%. George Hagan got 1.8%.
But during the time, they had more members of parliament.
Yes, you definitely did.
Because they decided to work with the national campaign team to some extent.
But you had only one member of parliament under George Hagan. You had 3 under Agude, but there was still 1 and 1 under Pakwesi Indo.
Yeah, but it was worse in that particular era because look at the performance. See, this is somebody who he said had money, he had the vehicles, but had decided not to work with the party. He wanted to do business with the party. They will not get far. That is why many people resigned from activity and went to the background. You see, it's a question of leadership.
You sound like you don't like Dr. Indo. I'm sure many people will make that conclusion easily.
You know, if I was in my olden days, when I was a public prosecutor, I would not stand with him on the same platform.
What does that mean?
I have said that if I were a public prosecutor now, I would not stand on the same platform with him because I'll be prosecuting him.
Why?
I don't want to go beyond this. You can do what you did earlier on, but you cannot. You not get me to speak now. But the facts are there. But let's keep it there, because if I were in Ghana in 1996, I might have prosecuted him, and therefore, I will not give him that credibility. I will not give him that respect that he will require from me. But because of the party, we decided, let's be in the campaign team and help. But then, if you decide that I will not work with this campaign team, my own perception will be different. You don't want to work with the campaign team, the vehicle that will take you to the Flagstaff House. You don't want to work with it. Then you must have an ulterior motive. But this party, I love that party. I want that party to go back to basics and become the strongest party again. So any activity, any action, any conduct that will lessen the effectiveness of that party, I abhor it. It will be revolting to me.
We're speaking to Mr. Bright Akwete. He wants to be flag bearer of the CPP come Saturday. And thereafter, he wants you to make him president of the Republic of Ghana. And we are finding out his views on a thing or two. We're still trying to get in touch with Dr. Abu Sakara. He's not aware. I'm told that his phone is ringing, but he's not answering. So to be fair to him, because it's a two-horse race, and it's important that we make it clear to you that we did our best to give the opportunity to both gentlemen. And that is what has happened so far. Nana Pongpok Gunshot, what kind of name is this? I'm sure this is coming off Facebook. He says it's Nana for 2012. Okay, that's all you have to say. Solomon Yantechi, people like Akufo-Addo, Males and Induom are now preaching industrialization, yet these guys presided over the demise of all the industries that the CPP government put out. Wake up, Ghana. All right, somebody indirectly saying that CPP is the way to go and that we should forget about the other parties. Let's move on to our next message. Sometimes, as you know, it can be a bit difficult to move because the internet can be pretty slow. As soon as you're able to roll over to the next one, we shall deal with this. Mr. Akwete, what about those who say 2012 really is a direct, straight battle between the NDC and the NPP? And that somebody may force a second round based on certain things, but they just do not see a candidate upstaging President Mills and Nana Akufo-Addo. It's between the two of them.
I think there will be a political tsunami in this country by the end of close of day 7 December 2012. It is not going to be that easy for the two of them. The tide is changing. And there will be a revolutionary shift from the two political parties to the CPP. In
2012?
In 2012.
What makes you so certain?
In 2012, the results will surprise you. Because everybody is fed up. It's the same thing. If you're preaching tribalism, if people are seen to be corrupt and you're treating them with kid gloves, the people who lose are the ordinary Ghanaian. They're losing. And there's no hope for them. The number of children on the streets selling skipping ropes and dog chains and tom-tom and pure water is increasing. The number has not been dwindling. The number has been increasing. The number of people sleeping along the front shops or shops front, however you describe it, in Accra, in Kumasi, in Cape Coast, as I went around, is increasing. And we have just had the BECE exams. It is certain that 50% of those children will not go to senior high school. Where do they go? Some of them have very poor mothers and fathers. What do they eat? Where do they sleep when the father has only one bedroom or has two bedrooms, which is accommodating all of them, and with about 6 children or 7 children or 8 children? We have to change it. They don't know how to govern. If you want to govern the people, you use the resources of the country to govern the people and make sure the people are educated and disciplined. But if the resources are being taken away, under your supervision, under your watch, you sell Ashanti Goldfields and you want me to applaud you? Ashanti Goldfields, the hen that lays the golden eggs. You sell it and you want me to applaud you? You go and use state resources to buy a gold chain and you say, decorate me when children are being educated under trees. Ghanaians have seen all these things, and they don't see any improvement. And we are telling them that if you want to see improvement, those of you who are CPP, come back home from the two political parties. Those of you who are undecided, this is the political party for you. Come and we will not disappoint you. Because we have men and women whom we will showcase very soon when we start launching the campaign and then the manifesto. They will come out. You see them. And we're inviting others. If you want to serve Ghana selflessly, come. If you don't want to go into parliament or be in public office just for self-aggrandizement, come. The clarion call is for people who want to serve Ghana selflessly.
Does that call also go in the way of Honorable Freddie Blay?
Oh, I don't want to talk about Freddie Blay. That's my very good friend who left the CPP to the MPP. Let him stay there.
Because you are saying that those in the NDC and the MPP should come back.
Oh,
that's
no,
the reason
he
for
will
this
not
question.
come back. He will not come back. Even if we entreat him to come back, he will not come back.
I see.
Yeah, I don't see him coming back. And some other friends, I don't see them coming back.
So he should stay there.
Yeah, he should stay there. He's more comfortable there. I like him there because that doesn't in any way impair our relationship. So let him stay there.
And obviously, you're not asking Kwesi Ndom to come back.
No, we'll not accept him back.
You're not accepting him?
No. He will come and destroy the party. He will come and reintroduce indiscipline to the party.
What about
some of the people he was using? Alain made a statement today that we are breaching the constitution and he can take us to court and stop us from holding the National Congress. These things, if you were national youth organizer, you dare not insult the leader of the party. But it was being done with impunity. And we don't want it. There must be discipline. And the discipline, it must start from the party.
What about those who say, for example, that your party has simply failed to attract the youth? And let me say something that a lot of people perhaps have not paid attention to. Kwame Nkrumah was born in 1909. If you listen to his exploits, I mean, going to the US to study and all those things, he was in his 20s when things were happening to him at that time. In his 30s, he was attending the Manchester Conference in 45 and playing a prominent role there, as a matter of fact. Even when he came down to the UGCC in 1947, he was still a young man in his late 30s. By the time he became he won the elections in 51 to become Prime Minister of Ghana and all, he was in his early 40s. I mean, this was a young man, and that's how come he was able to really whip up enthusiasm in the country. You talk about yourself. How old were you when you became a young pioneer and all the other people who were? There was an attraction of the youth. That's the strategy Kwame Nkrumah had, which made him such a living, shining example for your party, for which reason you continue to profess him. And let's talk about other people. Liman was president in 1979. In his 30s, he was already a member of the diplomatic delegation to Switzerland, Geneva. And in his 40s, he was president. 45 or 46 there, but he was president. You can talk about Jerry Rawlings. He was president in his 40s.
Don't add him.
Why not?
Well, he didn't come to power through the constitutional means.
Okay, but I'm talking about 1992. I mean, for purposes of the record. In 1992, he won an election as per our records.
Because of the
40s.
Foundation he has laid with the gun.
I can understand that, but
So
I'm stating a case
him.
about all what had happened with youth.
Yes.
Youth have been very important in this country.
And we believe in that.
For a very long time.
Yes.
President Kufuor, I mean, I'm not talking about presidency, but even at the time he became Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, he was 31 or so.
Yes.
It's something that we have done in this country for a long time.
Yes.
How come the CPP, that seemed to have been the fulcrum of that practice in this country to begin with? You can talk about the Kobodusers and all. Go and look at their ages. They were young men who were at the helm of affairs in this country.
Joshua was 27. Yes, go on.
Imagine what happened to the CPP. How has it become an old people's party in some people's
It is not an old. It's not.
No, you know what I
people.
mean. It has been described as such for a long time.
But if you don't have an old man in the house,
yes,
you will not make much progress.
But the old man needs young people with energy.
And the young people, we believe in the youth. That is why we train the young pioneers to take over. That is why I'm here. That is why I'm worried about how the country is going. They focused on the youth, educated them. Those who could not be educated, they were taken to various parts of the world I don't want to mention. So they came back as professionals to help an economy that was developing. And you see, you must focus on the youth because you need them to turn around industries, various workplaces, agriculture. Agriculture has been abandoned as a state focus in this country. We've left it to peasant farmers now. But at that time we had state farms. They were plantations. The youth were working there. There was work for them to do. During the holidays, they had harvesting to do on big farms. And that gave them a stipend or so. But because we have taken the premium from the youth and we are concentrating on ourselves as political leaders. We have left the youth to decide for themselves to go crossing the Sahara Desert to go to Libya and to Europe, taking on hazardous jobs in various places.
But how come
go
these
to Alaska,
youth are also members of these other two political parties who you say
they don't see
will
it.
suffer the tsunami?
They don't see it. They don't see because they were not privy to what we saw when we were young. They were not there. They don't know how a government should treat the youth. Because somebody is talking about education. Education for the purpose of educating people? No, it must have a focus. You must educate with a purpose. The people from here will go here, from here will climb here, and from here we'll see how they pan out. Some might be engineers, some might be this. That is how you don't just say free education when you have been in power for 8 years without being able to institute free education. There must be a purpose for it. In my time, there was a purpose for it. That is why Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology was created. Look, when the University of Ghana was created in 1948, Nkrumah came to power as leader of government business in 1951.
Sure.
And he helped to develop the university because he understood education and created the Cape Coast University and gave Ghana about 80 secondary schools.
Sure, but I'm talking about you now.
But we have not been in power.
Yeah.
We have been deliberately dismembered to whittle down our power, enfeeble us, emasculate us.
And you've been unable to prevent that.
We were not able to prevent that because of the people who were there.
How sure
But
are you
now,
that you can turn this around in the next few months to benefit from it in the election 2012?
not just few months. A lot of damage has been done. And you need to go step by step to correct the damage.
So will it happen in 2012 then? Then
It will not happen. It will not happen in 2012. The damage is such that you have to find a way of accelerating the.
But without
redemption.
the youth, you won't win the election in 2012.
That's why we're appealing to the youth that we